Hello everybody and welcome to day 2 of English. Now today we are going to be reading a story, but before we start reading the story we're going to talk about one of our reading strategies. So our reading strategies, they help us understand or comprehend what we are reading, and we've talked about some before. So we've talked about the reading strategy of predicting. So predicting what you think might happen next in the text, making a smart guess. We've talked about connecting. So how can we connect ourselves to the text? And today we're going to talk about questioning. So our activity today, we have to think before we actually read the text. So we're going to ask ourselves some questions. And to help us do that, we're going to use something called a KWL chart. And this is what a KWL chart looks like, okay? So the story that we're going to be reading about is about Tian, a giant panda. Okay, so that's the beginning of the story of the first page, but I'm going to go back. So before we start reading, there's 2 boxes we have to fill in. And then when we read the story, we go back to this KWL chart and we fill in the last box. So let's look at the first box. So K, information I know. So I need to think, okay, the story is about a giant panda. Do I know anything already about a giant panda? So in this box, I need to think, what do I already know about a giant panda? So I know pandas are black and white. Okay, so I know pandas are black and white. Now you need to think yourselves in your activity, what else might you know about a panda? I'm not going to say any more because I want you to think, what do you know about a panda? Then when I've done the piece that I know, I go on to W, information I want to know. So what questions? So this is where questioning is important. What do I want to know about a panda? What might this story be able to tell me about a panda? So I don't know where pandas live, so I'm going to ask, where do pandas live? Okay, that's one question. I also would like to know, what else would I like to know about pandas? I'm going to question the text before I read it. So I know the story is going to be about pandas, but what do I want to know about pandas? What do they eat? What do pandas eat? Okay. Now, I want you to think, I'm going to change that to an S. I want you to think of your own questions or more questions after this. So in the W part of the chart, information I want to know, I ask questions. So where do pandas live? What do pandas eat? And I think you should have roughly around 4 questions in this box. So questions you want to know about pandas. Anything else you can think of. So I've done the K part, which is information I know. Pandas are black and white. My W part is information I want to know. So my questions. Where do pandas live? What do pandas eat? And then you're going to put in 2 more questions you'd like to know. And then look at the last section. It says L, information I learned. Now, I can't fill in this part just yet because I have to read the story first. So what you're going to do is first, when you click into add response, you're going to fill in information you know. Then you're going to go to what you want to know and write your questions down. After that, you're going to read through the story about giant pandas. And then when you get to the very end of the story about giant pandas, you're going to go back and you're going to fill in information I learned. Okay, so maybe you learned where pandas live. Maybe you learned what pandas eat, so you could write them in there. Anything else that you learned, you can write in your answers in here. Okay, then when you've all that part done, you're going to be asked to read 2 pages from the text. So I'll be asking you to record yourself reading just 2 of the pages from the text. All right, so our KWL chart, asking questions, really help us understand the text. So the K is information I know. What do you already know about the topic? W, information I want to know. What questions would you like answered about the topic? And then L, after you've read the book, what have you learned from the book? Okay, best of luck, and we look forward to listening to you read and reading your responses and your questions.